nobody talks more crap than Caitlain too. Caitlain be in there talking like that's just what they did. I just saw her and Melissa get into it the other day. Like, it's just, it's a different generation.
No, you go in preparing for her to be there, and then you adjust accordingly. So I know they've just signed Ari McDonald back, and we'll see a lot of her tonight. So we'll get a good look at what that might look like if she doesn't play for us. So we have the benefit of watching them play tonight without her. But you go in preparing for Caitlain to be on the floor, and you adjust.
The application of marginal contact is so subjective for officials. We don't have that right. So we just have a long way to go. I don't think it's about star players. I know, I get the nature of the Caitlain Clark, the popularity and eyes on. So everyone's watching. A lot of people are watching that never watched before. I don't believe Caitlain Clark is targeted in any way. It's a great player. You're going to get teams' best efforts. I don't agree, with egregious contact and things that occurred after.
Caitlain Clark didn't tiptoe into the WNBA. She didn't arrive with a handshake and a smile. She kicked the damn door off its hinges. The minute she stepped onto that hardwood, the noise followed. Cameras tracked her every move. Crowds swelled. Schedules bent. Entire broadcasts shifted. And when that kind of energy hits, people change. You could see it in their faces. Tight smiles, measured tones, coaches clutching their pipboards, not just for strategy, but like shields. And when they stepped up to the microphone, they weren't there to celebrate. They weren't even neutral. They came to set boundaries, to control the narrative. Some tried to shrink the moment. Some tried to move the target. Some tried to twist it into an attitude problem. And others, they crossed lines you don't expect from leaders of professional teams. This wasn't chaos. This was calculated. The mission was clear. Push back on Caitlain Clark, make her carry the weight of all of it, and remind her, in public, that the establishment still runs this league. You could hear it in the way they spoke. Compliments came with fine print. Rough hits were brushed off as just basketball. Heated moments were dismissed as nothing to see here. Some even questioned whether she belonged at all. That's not analysis. That's an attempt to shrink her, to shove her out of the center of the story she already owned. This isn't about X's and O's. This is about tone, power, control. Who gets to define Caitlain Clark? And make no mistake, the disrespect isn't always loud. It hides in clipped answers, in backhanded compliments, and little digs disguised as coaching wisdom. You can hear it in the silence, too, the things they refuse to say. PR polish only hides so much. When the mics catch those slips between the lines, the truth comes spilling out. Some coaches tried to crown her a problem. Others tried to make her the problem. Some ducked behind cliches and safe little phrases, hoping the subject would just disappear. But it didn't. It never did. Because while Caitlain Clark was taking elbows, absorbing bumps, and getting hit after whistles, the conversation started to warp. Suddenly it wasn't about the basketball anymore. It wasn't about the traps, the scouting reports, or the matchups. Nope, the narrative flipped. Suddenly, TV panels weren't asking, how do you guard Caitlain Clark? They were asking, does Caitlain talk too much? Think about that pivot. She's out there getting hammered on screens, shoved off cuts, fouled without whistles, and the focus became her mouth. And it wasn't just the media twisting it, that pivot showed up on benches too. Instead of breaking down her game, some coaches tried to reframe it all as a generational thing, a tone thing, a vibe. Listen to this one. Nobody talks more crap than Caitlain. Caitlain be in there talking like that. I saw her and Melissa get into it the other day. It's a different generation. That wasn't praise. That wasn't analysis. That was irritation disguised as observation. And notice the code. Different generation. That's not about basketball. That's about control. That's older voices saying, we don't like the fact this rookie sets the tone and we don't. The talking is not the problem. The problem is what happens after she talks. Caitlain chirps, then she makes the next read. She talks, then she drills the next shot. She talks, and suddenly your defense overhelps and her teammate buries a wide open three. That's why they lead with the noise, because if they start with the basketball, the case collapses. The plays are undeniable, so they hide behind talk. That's the first sign of disrespect, treating her words like the story so you don't have to admit the truth. Caitlain Clark controls the sequence. If you want to beat her, you don't whine about her mouth. You put communication rules in your scouting report. You set captain's orders. You prep your huddles for the chirps. Because if you skip that, you're not just letting Caitlain Clark run your offense. You're letting your team run your team before the first TV timeout. That's not on Caitlain. That's on coaches too proud to admit she runs the damn room. And then you've got the minimizers, the ones who mention her name, then immediately pivot. Here's one. No, you go in preparing for her to be there, and then you adjust accordingly. So I know they just signed Ari McDonald back, and we'll see a lot of her tonight. So we'll get a good look at what that might look like if Caitlain doesn't play for us. But you go in preparing for Caitlain to be on the floor and adjust. Sounds neutral, right? It's not. This is Chris Clan doing the dance. He admits the obvious, you have to prepare for her, but in the same breath he pivots, brings up Ari, talks about what it might look like without her. That's not respect, that's damage control. That's, I don't want to sound like my entire game plan revolves around this rookie, even though it does. Notice how he repeats himself, prepare for her, twice, because the room already knows it. His team knows it, fans know it, everyone knows it. And then guess what? He throws in qualifiers like he's apologizing for saying her name too much. That's not strategy, that's pride. And it tells you everything you need to know. When the cameras roll, they dance around her name. But when the ball tips, she's the first line on the scouting report, every single night. That's not honesty, that's minimizing. And the pattern doesn't stop there. When coaches are asked about roster spots, about momentum, about what Caitlain's doing to the league, some of them don't even hesitate. They don't say, let's wait and see. They flat out dismiss her.
Like Cheryl Reeve asked about Caitlain's selection. From me? Yeah, no opening, no second thought. No discussion, no acknowledgement, just a wall. That no wasn't about roster logistics. It was about refusing to admit momentum, refusing to admit impact. But fans aren't stupid. They watch the games, they see the results, they connect the dots. And when the production on the court doesn't match the disrespect at the podium, it exposes everything. The league tried to bury the conversation under phrases like subjective officiating, like this one. The application of marginal contact is so subjective for officials. We don't have that right. I don't believe Caitlain is targeted. She's just a great player getting every team's best effort. Sounds diplomatic, but look closer. Subjective buys time. Best effort excuses the bumps. Then in the same breath, I don't agree with egregious after-play contact. Wait, so it's not targeting, but it's also egregious? Which is it? Fans saw the tape. They saw the shoves after whistles. They saw the forearms off the ball. Denying the label while admitting the behavior, that's not neutral. That's disrespect. Caitlain didn't ask for special treatment. She asked for the game to be called straight. And while coaches danced around the language, she answered with buckets. And then you had Gino Auriemma, who skipped the pretense and went straight for the throat. The delusional fan base that follows her disrespected the WNBA players by saying she's going to go in that league and tear it apart. These people are so disrespectful and so stupid. And Diana said it best. This kid's in for a rude awakening. She's on the wrong team, wrong skill set, not quick enough. This rookie class isn't even one of the best in the last 10 years. That's not scouting, that's a takedown. Wrong team, wrong skill set, not quick enough. If she's all that, why does every opponent prep around her? Why do defenders pick her up 30 feet from the hoop every damn night? Because the truth is, they respect her. They just don't want to say it. And it's not just in analysis. It's in the way they celebrate whistles. Natalie, after a travel call. Yeah, that's a great call. Must have been a great defensive stop. Credit to tip. That's not defense. That's a bailout. One whistle doesn't delete a signature move. The next clean step back still lands. But instead of admitting they couldn't guard it, coaches grab one whistle and wave it like a trophy. That's not analysis. That's minimizing. And it gets worse. Natalie again. We know she doesn't like physicality. We know she wants to get to that left step back. That's not false. That's disrespectful. Watch the tape. She takes hits and still creates space. She snakes around screens. She absorbs bumps and still finds shooters. If she didn't like contact, why would every team body her up at the catch, risking fouls just to knock her off rhythm? Actions tell the truth. Quotes don't. And when all else fails, coaches fall back on cliches. Toughness, energy, balance. Anything but admitting what the highlights show, Caitlain Clark controls the damn possession. And when things boiled over with Angel Reese, when the altercation at the rim put the whole arena on edge, reporters asked assistant coach Tyler Marsh for his take. He had one word: basketball play. Basketball play? That's denial. Everyone saw the replay. Everyone knew it wasn't routine. Shrinking it down to just basketball wasn't analysis, it was erasure. And here's the kicker. Caitlain Clark never took the bait. She didn't fire back with quotes. She didn't fight the PR war. She fought with possessions. You shove her, she scores through it. You deny her credit, she drops dimes until your defense cracks. You call her not quick enough, she beats you to the spot anyway. The coaches tried to bury her with words. The game kept lifting her higher. Every snub, every clipped answer, every backhanded compliment, it all backfired. Because the resistance didn't shrink her, it made her bigger. Every time a coach tried to redirect praise, Caitlain dragged the spotlight back to center court. Every time a veteran tried to label her soft, she turned contact into an and one. Every time a press conference tried to minimize her, she stacked another highlight reel that fans would never forget. This is the twist they didn't see coming. You can try to talk around her, but the game keeps talking for her. The pattern is clear. Teams start with her, they bend to her. They try to hide that reality behind phrases like tough shots or balanced roster. But the gap between what's said and what's played, that gap tells the truth. Caitlain Clark doesn't need their approval. She doesn't need their qualifiers. She doesn't need their respect at the mic. Because every night, the court says what they won't. Start with 22, pay the price, or she decides the ending.